come outside. We're gonna take you on a beautiful ride. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show.
Hey, welcome to the Fling Show. Oh my gosh, has Texas had a whirlwind this past week? Historical events are happening, but we're so happy to be back. And so, Hemi, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Just hanging out, talking with you guys. It's great. It's like a little party that I get to do on Mondays, and it's always great checking in with you guys. I know people are hurting out there. Chris, personally, this thing has hit so hard, and our hearts go out to all you guys that are struggling. Every single person I know has something that they're dealing with, and thank God for people like Jake, Nick, that come over and take care of their friends, which is what's happening with Chris over there. He had some flooding issues like everybody. And anyway, we're really thankful for those guys, and we're going to get Chris fixed up. How you doing, Chris?
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. And don't forget Meredith, the angel above.
That's right.
And thank you, Meredith.
Yeah, thank you.
But I just appreciated the other day when you and I finally got to go out and play a little disc golf. A little normalcy was welcome, that's for sure. However, it's just kind of nice to see all these angels come together. You and I have always talked about that. It's just amazing, the people in this community. So
yeah, prayers out to Chris and them. I know it's a tough time. But we're going to segue and get to some really special stuff. I've been thinking about this one for actually since the beginning of the Fling Show. I've been thinking about getting these two, Jay and Dez, and now we got to finally get Dez on there. And so
because Jay was kind of by accident that one time. He just kind of surprised us. It was still good, even though he had that frog. Remember, every time he was talking, that frog would go off. That was so great with him.
He was stealing the screen time because of that frog.
But his frog knew exactly what to do. Give him more screen time. So that was a great interview.
Oh,
and
man,
I love having him on. That was awesome.
It was a lesson in how to be charming. That's what Jay does. That's his thing.
Right, no doubt.
Not only that, but just really, this guy comes with a lot of integrity. And having Dez on, amazing, good stuff.
It's kind of funny because I don't think Dez remembers, but the first time I ever met her is I fed her. I was the cook at Spring Valley when they came down, and when Andy and them first put that little food trailer out there, and Dez and Jay came and they parked theirs right next to it and had a putting clinic and all that. And I was able to spend some time with them for a couple hours while nobody else was around. And I don't know if she'll remember that, but that was the first time I got to meet her. And it was quite nice experience because what wonderful people they are. And I really, really look forward to what this interview is going to bring this evening, because you and I have the same passion about not only growing the sport, but especially growing it on the female side, because these ladies are quite impressive. They're incredible people, incredible players. And I just love it. It just warms my heart. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, this thing kind of progressed. I wanted Meredith and Chrissy to handle this thing, and it turns out Des wanted them to handle it, and they worked out some stuff, and so I'm excited to hear from the girls what's going on with Des. Meredith, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so how excited are we? So let me introduce to you, as you probably already know, Des Redding. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on with us tonight. We are just so honored to talk with you all things disc golf. Just so excited. I do want to say I'm sorry for the hardships you are going through. I'm glad you're, coming out of it and things like that. And we, a lot of people have gone through a lot, but I wanted to start out with saying that we know 2020, let alone COVID, was kind of an insane year, but you actually had a hip surgery and went through, coming back from that, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can, but let me first say hi to all the Fling show and the
Hey.
Flingers and the Fling
Hi,
Bling.
guys.
Yeah, it is good to see everybody, and really, thank you for having me on. I would like to kind of like date to see if I really made you wait that long for me. I feel like in my time scope, I came on quite early, so it's good to be part of it. Yeah, this isn't my comfort zone. I heard I got that good parade introduction with our frogs on the porch and Jay being charming. He definitely handles the portion of the interviews much better and more relaxed than I am. But I am glad to be a part. It's really good to see women have equal billing on a show too. So good to support. And Hemi and I go way back. And Chris, nope, I've got a black hole dump memory, so I won't remember that. Somewhere down the line, you helped my cells grow, so it will always be a part of it. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah, 2020 was actually, it would end up being a good year for me in a sense, because I got in for that hip replacement that I needed for years. That had dogged me for quite a while. I think it really manifested itself when I took a hit at the 2018 Worlds in Vermont. And if you looked at my record, it basically slowed down from there. I did play an event in like 2019 and then bailed and played one in 2020 when it was actually at Spring Valley. It was the one I needed to make sure I was able to keep my PDGA career record intact. If you don't play an event for the year, you lose that year on your career record. And I've had an outstanding career record since 1998. And so, yeah, I buckled up the leg and went out to Spring Valley and played an event. And it was actually almost a year and some when I had pulled out of all the other events. But my hip replacement really well. I got very fortunate that my doctor down in San Antonio and his staff believed in my ability to heal. I was a candidate for kind of like a unicorn. I have no pre-existing conditions, healthy, because I played disc golf, even though disc golf wore out the hip. When COVID hit, I got shut down and moved the surgery around 5 or so times. And I was in severe pain, not sleeping at night, struggling. And they called me up and were like, can you be ready in 5 days? And 5 days later, Governor Abbott and the Surgeon General signed off and I went in for elective surgery, even though COVID had shut down. But because I had no pre-existing conditions, it was deemed still within the realm of going in. So I was the only one in the outpatient surgery, and I walked out that same day and spent 3 months on COVID lockdown, working my own therapy. And then at that 3-month mark, I hired on Disc Golf Strong and Seth Muncie, and he's been an integral part of my recovery. And so COVID allowed me to slow down. It was the first time in 20 years since I was like 19 that I hadn't traveled in 2020. So it was an incredible year of stillness, finding different graces that you work on. And I fared okay. There was a lot of lost sailors that we lost in 2020. So I actually being able to rebirth almost in a sense, I feel incredibly fortunate.
That's amazing. And in fact, I remember, I think for the first time talking to you at Spring Valley, and that's where we talked about FP40 and you're like, what? Like, let's get this going. With that said, your 2021 is looking hot and you took the win at Victoria Open in such like insane conditions. So tell us about that, like the conditions, the challenges that you went through with that. Like it was awesome to witness your consistent game. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was fun at Spring Valley. So Meredith and I, we actually got to know each other because actually Chrissy and Meredith, you kind of came onto the scene about when I was kind of like almost phasing out because I was struggling so much. I think Chrissy, you were about 2015, 17 maybe or so for Meredith coming in. And so it's been good to watch your guys' game really hit. And then Meredith, I was just shocked that you were 40. So it's the benefit of sometimes playing in your division and getting to know other women. And so, yeah, I was incredibly blessed to be able to play with you in Victoria. And I have no benchmark. That was kind of one of the first events that I have come back. I haven't practiced that much. I putted, but it was like you said, windy and hard conditions and cold hands. But from round 1 to round 2, I adjusted on upshot, something that is, a little bit more controllable, but I don't know distance anymore. I mean, it's been so long. So it's I have a long ways to go. I need to go out and film myself and get a rangefinder and work on how far I throw now and learn a game all over again. I'm trying to eliminate this huge stride that, in the end broke my hip that I don't need, so these are all things that, I just had always had in my own form from a softball pitcher. Having a long stride, I just reversed it and I had a long stride as a disc golfer, and it just wore the hip out. And now there's no sense of doing that anymore. You can still generate tons of hit being concise on a coil. But it's a matter of reworking wiring and visualizations of 20 years. So it's just like when I first I'm sure I have it somewhere as an old VHS of myself filming my original form where I crossed in front of myself, feet, wrong, and held onto the discs. So it can't be that bad.
I love that VHS, and you probably still have it.
I think I do. I got a couple boxes.
I love that. So what does your 2021 look like? Are you all going to kind of go on tour?
Oh man, I'm 49. I like rolling around. So I will play some events, and yeah, those days of, I don't know.
Okay. There's so much in Texas. There is so much in Texas to choose from.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, Texas will keep you busy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, Christy. So I wanted to, Christy has so much as well to ask you. So Christy, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I have goosebumps just from the first 5 minutes of this interview. This is incredible. I don't really usually get starstruck, but right now I'm kind of starstruck. So I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, and thanks for coming on. And so according to the PDGA website, Victoria marked your 199th win. So you're one win away from 200 wins. That's incredible. So what's your next tournament? Where are you where are you looking to get that number 200?
Would be Texas State's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. That's so awesome.
That's my next event. And so yeah, I'll try to bag that 200th win there. That'd be an epic throwdown.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I'm really intrigued to hear a little bit about your history and how you got started in the game of disc golf. Like you, I was a softball player, and I think it's a really natural transition into disc golf. So, how did you hear about it? How did you get started? What are your roots in disc golf?
Let's see, I'm a native Iowan, and looking back in my memory bank, I first saw my first disc golf basket as my dad was a slow pitch softball player, and we would go to a park, Madrid, Iowa. I grew up in Woodward, small town of 1,000, and we would go across the bridge to the other small town, and my dad would play slow pitch. He had a great team, and we threw rocks and softballs at baskets. You couldn't actually play the holes. I think Edgewood might have been 12 or 13. I can't remember. But the way it plays, you can't, the softball, the field and the disc golf course interlope with each other. So we never saw anybody playing disc golf. So when I actually played disc golf, I was in college at the University of Northern Iowa, and Tours Park was established in 1978, and in 89 the World Championships came to Iowa, the Cedar Falls, Waterloo area. So they had some good established courses. The Blackhawk Metro League is a long-standing PDGA sanctioned league, and I played disc golf in school. I was the collegiate softball pitcher and scholarship athlete. And so we just need a recreational study break. So a bunch of athletes, it was softball players, track players, football players, yeah, so we all got and played just Tourist Park. We never went across the river and played the Hard Exchange Park, which was the championship course at the time. And we played disc golf. And then I kind of fell out of it for a couple of years when I left university in around 95 or so. But, you know, only maybe a year and a half passed, and I was in the Quad Cities area on the Mississippi, and went to play disc golf again, and helped form the Quad City Disc Golf Club, and I became a part of it. You know, in the end, there was people that was established there as we moved in, but we helped, you know. Yeah, and we just ever since then had played. I've entered a tournament with one disc. I won, and I got another disc. I played with my Cobra.
What? Wow, that's so cool.
And I won a Gazelle and a Pepsi Windsock, and which was good because I sold Jay and I sold like frozen lemonades and had a concession business in the summers, and we sold Pepsi. So the Windsock was fantastic, along with one more disc. And yeah, I played disc golf and really enjoyed it. And didn't join the PDGA because, you know, it was hard to know it was out there because everything was still like a newsletter form. And I just wasn't in that pocket of players. Juliana went to the same university. She's just a year older than me, and she fell into the pocket of players that were in the PDGA scene. So, you know, we just, in the end, you find it, and we just kept playing. And then we came to Texas to really play. And in 2002, I won my first Worlds. 99, I joined the PDGA, and kind of, it was a steamroll.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, you know, speaking of Juliana Korver, that actually kind of segues into the next question I had for you, because you're such an icon to the female disc golfers, you know, who are playing at the elite level today. I know, you know, Paige Pierce, Stephanie Vincent, Courtney Cannon, like I can go down the list of the prominent FPO players that really, you know, look up to you. Did you have anybody like that when you were playing? Like, did you have an influence who helped you like find that pocket?
I would say no,
Wow.
because I got in it so quickly, you know. So I was playing with just my group of friends, and then when I joined the PDGA in 1999, I was completely aware of Juliana when I joined the PDGA, and then especially of her influence in Iowa. And then, you know, there was Kelly Hughes, which was a good player, and then Hall of Famer Becky Zalek taught me how to approach people and how to run events and get people. And so, you know, I had a lot of influences, and I had a great group of women that we all were. I had 7 deep when I first joined the PDGA that we played, and we were all kind of like, and I was kind of the high number at 15863 in that group.
Yeah.
So you know, I just know. And then when I joined, how did it all shake out? I joined the PDGA. I turned pro in 2000. I was a pro rookie of the year in 2001. And that same year, I was named rookie of the year, and I won the 2002 World Championships in Houston, Texas. So I think because of that short time, you know, and the fact that there wasn't any YouTubes and everything else to like really see people, if you didn't get a magazine and look at pictures, you didn't have so much influence. I can say when I went to the 2000 Pro-Am Worlds and watched the final group, I got to watch Juliana win that Worlds. I was equally excited about Deb Brenner from Florida and her putt. You know, she had such a zinging putt, and I remember being completely influenced at the time, you know. And so I didn't have so many influences, but I can respect so many parts of people's games as I played with Elaine and her discipline of course control, and Juliana is able to feed tight lines. And even like Paige Bierkes, Paige Shue worked hard at her putter game, which was her worst part of her game when she was young, you know. And so there's so much respect that I have for all the women, but I can't say I was completely influenced by any.
So, you know, there's been so much happening in women's disc golf, you know, even just in 2020 with the Respect Her Game movement, and just seeing, you know, the numbers of females in tournaments. You know, there was a graphic that was shared before Victoria of, 14 open women this year versus, 7 last year. Like, how do you feel about the growth of women in disc golf and kind of the direction that it's headed? Has been really cool, like, to witness it growing and getting bigger.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Respect Her Game movement is a complete manifest of decades of not having enough coverage. As I've been sorting through different photographs and PDGA's Flickr accounts and looking for old photos of women. I mean, back when I was playing in the 2000s to the 2008 to 9, there is just completely no pictures of women. I mean, there's some. That's a complete wrong statement. There are some, but it's a very small segment. And so
yeah.
Yes, I can remember repeatedly filling out surveys and writing the proper forms of the channels of don't cap the women's field at the World Championships. You can't cap it at 12. They used to cap it at 12 and 15 and 20. You can't expect the divisions to grow, and the PDGA did ultimately listen in 2015 with J. Gary Dropchow at the World Championships in Allentown. That's when I won Pittsburgh. They lifted the cap, and that was the huge momentum surge. And and then in the end, the PDGA's recognized that, and they broke off. And now we have just the pro World Championships and the Master World Championships. The juniors now demand their own division at the championships. So yes, I'm so excited to see the potential of allowing us to grow and us stepping up at the moment and filling it. And that is what's really important. And I was excited that Merritt and I were able to fill the 40-year-olds division, because it is important to still establish those divisions, because tournament directors want to be able to satisfy those divisions. If they don't know we're out there, then they just won't offer it either. So, kudos to everybody who takes the time to empower women, both men and women. It's a big battle, and I'm glad we're fighting.
I agree. It looks like in the next few years that FP40 division is it's gonna grow and it's gonna be solid. I can't wait to see some of the action go down in the next few years in y'all's division. That's so exciting.
I'll be out by then.
Yeah, you will. Come back.
So you have 3 world championships, rookie of the year. You have so many like accolades and titles under your name. Which one to you is the most memorable? Which one sticks out to you? Which one do you cherish the most?
I have 4 world titles.
4. I'm so sorry.
That's the Forgotten Masters, and I can say that's the least memorable. I'm glad I got one. Kind of like collect all. It's like trading cards, right? And I might enjoy the second one in Pittsburgh, because of I had a couple years intermiss of just missing from 2002 to 2000. Well, for 9 years, I finished either first or second at the World Championships. And, unfortunately, to only grab 3 of those 9 is a poor percentage. You wish you have more of those that you actually bagged. But the second one, to be able to go out and I dominated it. Pennsylvania was one of the first states when Jay and I were, kind of like an amateur to pro, and we were touring around at the time. We had that concessions business. We'd stopped through there, played some doubles events happened to fall into a league, and met some disc golfer, that put us up and pushed us on our way with garlic and potatoes. So I had so many fond memories of that state, outside of, my own states. That was, and the courses were beautiful. And so I enjoy that one. My memory is really good about that one.
That's fantastic. I have to ask, I wasn't planning on asking this question, but did you and Jay meet through disc golf?
We didn't. We were both scholarship athletes. So We played in the dome, at practice in the dome, and the softball
cool.
players were relegated to the corner, and he was the fastest of all the O linemen as they would do the dirty lap around. Trying to keep the balls off of the football field so the coaches wouldn't give us the good damn get off, the field.
Wow. So you
Uh,
guys like y'all like learned disc golf together, right? It sounds like
We did, yes. We were part of that crew that went and played together. Yeah.
that is so cool. That is this like, man, that's so much fun. I love it. I bet you guys are still super competitive when y'all go out and just play like casual rounds and stuff. I would love to like be a fly on the wall and watch a round with you too.
Yeah, I took him out at the last backyard putting game, but it lit his fire to take on the last couple events. So it all works out.
That's great. So I saw that you had the Cobra. You had that sitting right there with you. Is that your first signature disc?
Oh no, actually, I really don't have a signature disc. So I have those Tour Series discs, and
Right.
I was part of the first Team Star crew that got those discs started. So, I'm part of the original Team Star. I was captain that kind of initiated those Tour Series discs. And so I had the Firebird. It didn't quite come out the first ones that I wanted. The real swirly flat ones were nice. I can say that Innova, when they did those Star Stingrays for me, that was a really nice run of discs that they did.
Yes.
All the artwork was my own, from the Firebird to the Stingrays. Those are both my own drawings and artwork.
Oh, wow.
That's a great disc. The Cobra is my first disc. I love the Stingray now. Those are still discs that I just still throw. I will always throw. I threw those into the headwinds at Victoria. I have no problem controlling those of Stingrays. I mean, that is the only mid-range I throw. So
wow, that's awesome. I had no clue.
yeah, great glide.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Stingray. That's awesome. So, as you have, grown through disc golf over the years, disc golf in itself has evolved so much. The science and the technology behind the discs and, their flight paths and their numbers, everything is just evolving and growing at such an exponential rate. Has that been like a challenge for you to keep up with, or, growing with the game? Like, how are you adapting as disc golf itself adapts?
Yeah, I try. Man, I like what I like. So
Yeah.
I'm still, I retired from distance throwing a speed 9, and Paige Pierce and I tied at like 483 in 2011. And I just went out, and I love a road runner. I'm still throwing lots of speed 9s. I do try other discs. Race are great discs, but again, that's only a speed 10. Yeah, so I got nothing above really 10. I've always been a speed 9 kind of gal. I just am not comfortable with real wide rims. I've always thrown flip up discs and worked angles. And so to come even like across, I just don't like that motion a whole lot. Yeah.
Wow.
I
know.
Probably a hindrance, but I'd rather be accurate than have extra distance.
I 100% agree with that sentiment. I mean, I'd rather be 200 feet down the fairway in the middle than 320 feet in the brush. So that's a very true statement. I know, I play a ton of rounds with Stephanie Vincent. She's here in Austin with me, and I know you guys are really, really close. And every time I see her pull out this yellow disc out of her bag, I'm like, that's the Des Redding Wraith. Like, it is Stephanie's like go-to disc. And so every time she pulls that out, I'm like, well, this is going to be a perfect shot.
Well, that's funny, because when I played the Spring Valley event, I got to have that first round where she then was in the lead after the first round, and she just slayed. And I had to say at one point, I was like, is it wrong that I'm excited that you're beating me with my own disc? In the end, then that was a Stingray. She threw that so tasty all through those wooded sections. It was great.
Yeah.
Those are really excited. Anytime I can see tips that I've helped people with, how to play discs, those are all huge bonuses to being in the game and being really free with knowledge. Jay and I for 20 years have done clinics anywhere from 20 to 30, sometimes, gosh, there might have been 40, I don't know. There's been a lot of clinics we've done for 20 years. They were always free. And I hear it when I hear the Today's Stars talk about putting within the circle, painting the rainbow when you throw Anheuser's. These are all tags that Jay and I have used in the years.
Wow.
Doing clinics. And so it's enriching to see all that knowledge pass on and being utilized and promoted. It's exciting. Disc golf is really
Yeah.
an exciting moment. We're at a tipping moment. I mean, there's a lot of growth out there. We have to be shepherds of our courses, shepherds of the people in the park as they get overcrowded. We can't throw on people. We can't assume people know what disc golf is. And we can't assume that the disc golfers that are playing really know what disc golf is also, from litter to proper use of the equipment. So, us that have been around, even if it's a 3 or 4 years worth of being around, be kind, and then, spread what really disc golf is, which is picking up and being shepherds of the land, because it's priceless that we get to utilize green space nowadays.
That's amazing. What an amazing sentiment. All the clinics that you mentioned, all the teaching that you and Jay have, all the knowledge that you guys have shared with, so many players throughout the years. Is that kind of what segued you guys into the EDGE program? And tell me a little bit about that.
I would say no. When we came down to Texas in 2001, and for the whole 2002, we were substitute teachers. And so we helped form a disc golf club at Aikens, and John Helk had actually had equipment that was at the Austin ISD's kind of like facility, and it just was not being utilized. So we asked to check it out. We formed a disc golf club at the Aikens after school, and it went from what is this to a really well-attended club program. And then in 2002, when I won the World Championships, I qualified for the US Championship, and I went out and I got paired with Harold Duvall of Innova Champion, who also had John Lixit following us. And we talked about disc golf and education. I told him about the club program, and we started to spearhead an idea that Harold and John was formulating with an educational program. And so Jay and I got on board, and we helped write a 3rd through 12th grade standards-based curriculum. And since 2003, EDGE has reached 2 million students through lightweight discs, has partnered with countless tournament charity program donors, and has really facilitated and become the industry leader in disc golf. In 2019, I actually progressed and moved on from EDGE to work for the PDJ in their new founded youth and education department. And I made that move in hopes of being able to use another vehicle to use the knowledge that I had gained with working with EDGE into helping more youth in organized play. So EDGE is really great in working with the schools and working on the curriculum and working into the physical education realms. And the PDJ, we hope to really bridge a nice gap between youth clubs and giving youth the opportunity for more organized play. Unfortunately, COVID has sidelined a couple of our programs, but as everything opens up, it just gives us more room to really see what's out there and where we need to go with this new growth. Right now at the PDJ, I've launched the COVID-19 relief project, and it's still open to educators that have a campus course or a course nearby, and they can apply for relief funding through equipment grants. And so there's some really good things on the horizon as we try to navigate the new growth for disc golf.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Even since COVID, I feel like disc golf, COVID just kind of, I don't know, like curtailed this entire like new wave of disc golfers. And even, at our local courses around Austin, since the start of COVID, I've just seen so many new players out on the course. So, I think that everything you said is just to a T, and finding ways and resources that we can facilitate that growth is just, one of the best things for our sport right now. So I just think that's amazing. I just have one last question for you before I hand it back over to Meredith. And this is just kind of like a closing question. What would be your number one tip for any disc golfer who is relatively new to the sport? What is one thing you would tell them? I know that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because there's so much out there. You can see so much out there. Go just explore. You can't throw enough shots. And so I would say that really, I think, gave me a leaping edge that happened to be such a small little thing that I did was I was so hungry for disc golf when I first started, and so just even playing around, I felt like I couldn't get enough throws in. So I would do small little forehand rollers, maybe to the next tee from the pin, or hit the mark. I played a ton at rest areas just with little, our Jay and I, we bring our putters around and play object golf as we would
Object golf.
stretch. Yeah, so all of those little opportunities just to throw little touch shots, nuances shots, I think is a little missed opportunity that a lot of us take for granted. And I really enjoyed it. It gives you a great love of the disc and its abilities. And
I think that's great because you never know when you're actually going to need those shots.
Totally.
So, hey, the more you can practice them, the better. I love that. Des, I have learned so much just in this short time talking to you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Meredith, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Thanks, Christy.
Awesome.
It was good talking to you. I hope we get to play together soon. And
Me too.
yeah, I look forward to see this rocket game that you keep leaping forward with.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
Yep. Awesome. And I love the fact that you brought up object golf. With 2020, in the beginning of it, we were all literally like staying inside and not going to courses. I went behind my house and I literally roped trees like maybe 2 feet wide and I made it object. I made a little 9-hole behind my house. Like I'm just trying to hit the tree in between my rope. And that was, object golf. You can really make golf out of anything. And I just thought that was so cool that you mentioned that. Thank you so much, Des, though, for joining us. We want to make sure that you give, if you want to give anybody a shout out, whatever it may be, please.
All right. Well, now that I joined the PDGA, I don't have any sponsors to really shout out, but I can say that I've worked with some great companies through the PDGA. So thank you to Discraft, Innova, Gateway, Edge, the PDGA for donating discs to the COVID-19 project, the Disc Golf Pro Tour. You were integral in a moment when discs were hard to find. And so I look forward to being able to disperse these discs on behalf of you, the PDGA, and the growth of youth and education. So to those kind of sponsors that are out there, thank you for your continual giving. It's out there and it's appreciative.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much, Des. It's such a pleasure. I look forward to playing with you again. And yes, and thank you for joining us tonight. It was great.
Yeah, enjoy it, everyone. Texas, stay safe. Keep it neighborly. Be kind.
Yes.
Thank you, Des.
Thanks,
Thank
Des.
you so much.
Bye.
Wow.
Excellent.
Once again, it always amazes me as we move forward with this adventure and the building of what we do, the incredible people that we run into. And I didn't know her whole story. I was enthralled from the moment she started talking, and Meredith and Christy and them started talking to her and asking her questions. Well worth every single second that we had to wait for her to come on. I know she had been apprehensive about doing it, but I'm so glad that she did. What do you think, Dave?
Well, great job, ladies. Chrissy, Meredith, thank you guys for leading that charge and coming up with great questions. I mean, I was just enjoying myself. I wanted to throw in a couple of things that Des didn't mention. Also, 3-time Maple Hill champion, which is Steve Dodge's, the Vibram thing. So she's won that, which I've always considered that kind of like the other USDGC. So she's had some incredible wins in that, out of that 199 that she's amassed. That's cool. I mean, I learned a lot from that. The other thing too that I was thinking about is her relationship with Juliana, and just, I mean, they both kind of came from the exact same area. I was lucky enough to be there for a while in the Midwest, so I played a lot of those courses that she was talking about, and Juliana created the Pickard course, which is my top #1 course. So I was just curious. I didn't get to ask Des if she had any involvement with the design of that course, because man, the course design out there is amazing. So I can see why it produced such great disc golfers like Jay and Des, and so great to hear from Des. The other thing that kind of got my attention was the fact that she's now with the PDGA.
Yeah.
She was able to thank everybody, she became everybody's spokesman,
That's amazing.
that moment. Yeah, that was nice.
I also wish that we would have been able to interject just a little bit that we did miss, is that not only the incredible thing that she's doing, but the incredible things that our two partners here are doing. Because I think that not only what Des is doing, but what Chrissy is doing and what Meredith is doing, what you ladies are doing to grow this is just incredible to be a part of and to watch and experience. And I sure hope that Des gets the opportunity to sit back and watch what you two wonderful ladies are doing.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey,
No
I have to
doubt.
give my husband a shout out because I kind of geeked out. Chrissy mentioned like Starstruck, and I kind of geeked out asking her and Victoria, not knowing that Hemi and her had already like talked months before. But Sean was like, "I'll go talk to her." Like Sean asked her for me, and then I went and apologized to her for geeking out. I'm like, "I'm sorry." Like,
That's why Hemi tells me to do it, because I don't care. I'll walk up to anybody. It doesn't matter to me. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I
Well, it wasn't
geeked
a
out
big
as
deal.
well
I mean,
too.
I don't know why I geeked out. Like I played with her and I was all cool, but then whatever. I for whatever reason I did.
I
Hey,
have no
let me-
shame either. I'm with Chris. I have no shame. If there's ever anybody, who we need to get on the show for one reason or another, like I have no shame in just being like, hey, the worst they can say is no, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll keep after them. I think it's always good for us to be open to suggestions too. If any of our followers or any of our fans have anybody who they think would be, a great person to bring on the show, like let us know, send us messages. We're open ears. We're all about how we get better,
Hey,
no
Hemi,
doubt.
didn't we have Miss Vincent on after she won the Spring Valley Open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
did.
thought I wanted to tell Dad. I was hoping we could. There's so many things that she said there, but she was just on the information she was giving. It was like, you could go in so many directions with her. It was wonderful to hear. And what's kind of funny, I've had a lot of opportunity to sit with Andy Young and listen to her speak. And it was amazing how they sounded very, very similar, especially like when Chrissy asked her about her beginning and how it started and who she looked up to. It's like, hell, I was throwing rocks at trees, I mean, it's kind of hard to look up to somebody else throwing a rock at a tree when you're the only one doing it. So I thought that was quite entertaining to hear, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. It is kind of tough to be like the only Michael Jordan or whatever.
The OG.
I can't even imagine not having, and the other thing too that I wanted to kind of throw in there when she was talking too was that, she said we didn't have YouTube or whatever. And I say that a lot too, but I did have a version of that. And it was the Marshall Street DVDs, and I still have them. Hopefully we'll get to throw some of those on, but Des was the star in those, and Jay was on those too. But there was Brinster and a whole bunch of people that are still playing the sport. But that's how I learned. I'd rewind those DVDs and watch that stuff. From Marshall Street.
That's great.
They've been going at it for a long time. One other thing I wanted to add too was that I've had 2 discs signed in my life, my whole career, by somebody. You're talking about geeking out, and one of them was Climo. And the other is Des and Jay. And it stayed on that putter, and I never really threw it too much after a while, and it just stayed up, and it finally just disintegrated like this year. So I'm honored to have Des come on, and yeah, it was delightful, especially just not listening to me and Chris talk. We could just
I'm glad it
every
wasn't
week.
I'm glad it wasn't me this week. But before we do leave, I do want to start making sure that we kind of tell everybody where we're going. I know, Chris, are you still going to Vegas? No, you're not going to Vegas. It's been backed out. Okay.
I was really hoping to be tuning in from the road with you guys tonight. From, on our way to Vegas. I was hoping by now we'd be like in El Paso or in New Mexico or something. But with the ice storm last week, my company was out of work for 6.5 days, half a day, 2 Thursdays ago and Friday, and then all of last week. And I just couldn't miss another week of work. I also haven't really gotten to play or practice in like 2 weeks because we have been, stuck inside. Our van is in the shop getting a little bit of work done right now. Like I can just go down the list of why it just wasn't in the cards for us this week, which is really, really unfortunate. I'm seeing all the posts on Facebook popping up about like, I'm getting my first practice round in Las Vegas. And I'm just like, oh man. But there's other Disc Golf Pro Tour events. The one that Neil and I really have our eyes on right now is the Preserve Championship. So I'm thinking that, that's what we're going to shift our plans to. So, it's unfortunate, but, that's why there's a whole pro tour. There's more opportunities. It's all right.
So Meredith and Hemi, I know Hemi, you're going to the Coastal Classic this weekend. Meredith, are you going to be there as well?
No, I actually don't have anything coming up that I'm actually going to be playing until April, but I will say that I signed up last night and I booked my flight to US Women's Disc Golf over in Cali in May. So I'm not doing much this year, but I'm going big, please. And also with that said, I've been trying to focus more on kind of growing the sport, learning the TD side of things. And we have our Chick Station Chains Women's Global event. And so I will put that, I'll put that link in the bottom because we need to get you signed up to get those wonderful players pack. With that said, we have our Houston one here at Northside Christian Church. Chrissy, what do y'all have going on in Austin for a Women's Global event?
We are having our women's global event headed up by the ladies of Mint Discs. So myself, Stephanie Vincent, and Renee Farr, we are the 3 co-TDs, if you will, of the women's global here in Austin. We are holding it at Riverbend Park in Smithville, Texas, which is just outside on the other side of Bastrop. So it's maybe 30 or 40 minutes outside of Austin, but it is so worth it. That course is so much fun. It sits right on the Colorado River. So whenever you're done, you can go like change your swimsuit and jump in the river and go for a nice swim. And there's campsites. So we're gonna make a whole weekend of it and go camping and have a whole girls weekend. I can't wait. That's gonna be so great. So if any of you guys have any questions about the women's global event, please reach out to Meredith and I. We can definitely point you in the right direction if we don't know the answer to your question. And the other thing in the way of tournaments is, you guys, the Texas Swing is right around the corner. There are some big events coming up in Texas, including Waco, the Open at Belton, Texas States. So, stay tuned for some of that because all the pros, they're on their way here. That's exciting.
Yep. And we have Texas AM doubles championship coming up in a couple weeks or a week or something like that. I'm going to be out there with that. I'm super stoked to see. We have 13, I think, women teams.
Wow. That's got to be a record.
Yeah, it is by far, like almost double.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so excited.
That's so cool.
All right, guys, what do y'all got coming up or you're playing?
Well, I know I'm going to be chasing Hemi down there in the coastal. If I can get away this weekend, I may go down there and film that a little bit, get a little bit of that out there. I know we had to postpone due to this weekend our ace race that we were going to do at Woods Edge Church. But we are definitely going to be looking for a makeup date there to help raise funds to, once again, hopefully putting in some more tee pads, some more baskets as well, just to continue to grow the sport down here. So don't think that we haven't forgot about that. Lucky Ace is behind us on that as well. But that's all I have until next week. Hemi, you want to go ahead and send us out and tell us what you have us before we go?
Yeah, just Coastal Clash and then Spring Wide Open after that. Lone Star Disc sponsored both of those. Lone Star Travis is sponsored, and I was out putting with my pinning putters today. I got 3 of those the newer kind of softer plastic, and I'm starting to like those. I know Tanner throws those, but yeah, that's what I've got going on.
Hey,
I
Hemi,
just-
speaking of the Coastal Clash, isn't there a clinic involved with that?
I think was Lisa running something like that?
I think it was
and Tanner,
Griff and Tanner, maybe?
Griff and Tanner. Yeah, yeah. Man, a lot to learn from those guys.
Yeah,
Tanner is killing it, and
he's so good.
I think what was that, third at Victoria this past?
Yes, yeah,
freeze.
tied for third, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, he's got the demeanor and the skills, and look forward to seeing what Tanner does on tour with the Lone Star.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. And we have Swordstone Shiver coming up this weekend. We had Renee Farr, the TD of that tournament, on with us a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm going to try to make my way out there and, maybe get some video coverage so that I can share with you guys. And so that's going on too. I can't wait for that one.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm not sure. Did we have any kind of pre-show video stuff today? Thanks for the videos and the snow pics.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
I have to apologize. I have a bunch of stuff, and I'd halfway done it and stuff, but it just didn't work out this week. But I've got some in the can, and I meant to mention Hemi had hit a couple aces when he was practicing as well that I've got canned as well, and so look for it next week.
Yeah.
But it was just not this week, that's for sure.
We're all getting back on our feet. It was a tough week, you guys. So
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to, say thanks again for what Jake and Nick Godry are doing over at Chris's house. And Chris was hit really hard, and it's thanks Chris for taking the time to be with us tonight, because we're pretty much lost until you clicked on here. I was trying to lead the way, but it wasn't working. So thanks for coming tonight, Chris. And I'll be talking to you soon, and we'll get you fixed up, man. Everybody's struggling right now, so be kind to each other. And ladies, thanks again. Beautiful interview. Perfect. Thank y'all. Really appreciate it. That's all
We're
I
so
got.
honored.
All right.
Angels.
Yeah. Thank y'all, ladies.
Right back at you. You guys are the best.
We're so
All right.
grateful to be here.
Bye. Thanks, Des.
Yeah, guys, enjoyed it. You guys are
Yeah.
good. Yeah, take care.
Appreciate it. Good
Yeah.
job.
All right. Good night,
Thanks, Chris.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Good
Bye.
night, y'all.
All the best to you, Chris.
Be nice, be sweet, be kind.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
And as Hemi says, play disc golf.
Play
Yeah.
disc golf.
Play disco.
Bye, guys. Thank
It's a
y'all.
game.
All day.